Hey, back again. This is Shawn the Party Man, Bow Radio, Sports Grind here. Hey, let's get into the World Series. So, it happened, guys. It happened. The Astros won the 2022 World Series 4-2 over the Philadelphia Phillies this week. We had Jordan Alvarez, who had 3 RBIs, big game. Dominican guy here, Framber Valdez. 6 innings pitched, 2 hit, 1 earned, baseball, 9 Ks. They won it all, guys. They won it all. Not only that, Mattress Mac, like I talked about last week, he won $75 million in the bet. Good for him. Good for him and good for the Astros fans out there. I didn't see him coming back. They were down a little bit, but never really doubted them because at the beginning of the season, they were kind of the favorites. And until they got to the playoffs, also the favorites, they won. So yeah, the Astros win the World Series. Also, another man, if you're into betting, guy won $125,000 at $50 back in April for the Astros over the Phillies was $125,000. That's pretty much baseball over till next year. So we'll get back into betting a little bit here. This is interesting. So there was a 1991 episode of The Simpsons, if you guys are aware of The Simpsons, where if you bet $100 1991 on the Denver Broncos versus Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl and you bet $100, you'd be a millionaire. This is about 8 to 10 years ago when they were in it. I bet $100 down midway through the season, won $4,600. Gambling is at its finest right now. If you want to know anything, let me know about that. So with sports this week, not a whole lot going on besides the World Series, which is over. It was great. I'm going to get into football here a little bit. So we had the Philadelphia Eagles still undefeated, 8-0. They beat the Houston Texans 29-17 this past week. Great game, 8-0. I don't know how well they're going to do this year because they played nothing besides bottom-feeding teams. I predicted that they'll make the Super Bowl, and they might. I don't know, but at the same time, the Cowboys are almost fully healthy. They got their quarterback, Dak Prescott, back. I think they're going to beat them in their next divisional matchup, which is going to come here in a couple weeks. They might actually beat them out. They'll probably go. There's 17 games now instead of 16 because the NFL went up a game. So they'll probably go 15-2, maybe 14-3. We'll see what happens if they make it to the Super Bowl. That's the Eagles. We had the Patriots blow out the Indianapolis Colts 26-3. Bill Belichick, best defensive-minded coach in football. They handled them easily. Big upset here. We had the Detroit Lions beat Aaron Rodgers, who's having probably his worst season that he's ever had. The Lions beat them 15-9. Not only that, it was Aaron Rodgers who lost 5 games in a row. I don't know. I don't even know if that's ever happened. I don't know the stat. I didn't look it up. They're playing bad football right now. Maybe he needs to get out of Green Bay. Maybe they want him out of Green Bay because the coaching right now, I think it's kind of like a Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers situation. They have Jordan Love who's a backup. I don't know what's going on with football. We need better quarterbacks because all the greats are getting older besides Brady. Brady's still going. I'll get into Brady later. Name my son after him. My favorite quarterback, best player of all time. We'll get in that here in a little bit. So we had the Chargers beat the Falcons in an interesting game. That was 20-17. I think the Falcons are a little overrated. Justin Herbert, their quarterback, banged up, has some broken ribs, but that was a close game. This hurt my bank account just a little bit. The New York Jets beat Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in football, and the Bills 20-17. Didn't see that coming. Had it in a 14 parlay. Lost that game, unfortunately, but that's how gambling works. Any given Sunday. We had the Vikings of Minnesota in first place. And also another interesting team. They beat the Washington Commanders 20-17. We'll see how they do as the season goes on. More than likely, they'll win the NFC North. The Cincinnati Bengals, who got blown out last week by the Browns, they dominated the Carolina Panthers 42-21. If you're into fantasy football like me, I have a couple fantasy leagues. Joe Mixon had 153 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns rushing, 4 catches for 58 yards and a TD. Unbelievable fantasy week, 55 points. If you had him on your team and you didn't win, something went wrong. You had the Jaguars over the Raiders 27-20. The Raiders, it's weird. The Raiders have lost 1 score, 2 scores or more all season. They've lost like 5 games that way. If you're a Raiders fan, I'm sorry for you. Your team's a little better. They just can't finish it out. That's why we play 60 minutes of football. Moving on, we have the Dolphins beat the Bears, who's kind of surging. Also talking about fantasy, the number 1 scoring fantasy quarterback the last 5 weeks is Justin Fields, which nobody would have saw that coming. The Fins beat them 35-32. Tyreek Hill, the number 1 receiver in football right now, had 7 catches for 143 yards and a touchdown. Nobody said he could do it without Patrick Mahomes, who's the top quarterback in the league, but that guy is a speedster. They call him the cheetah for a reason. Killing it. Moving on, the Seattle Seahawks, first place as well. Geno Smith, like I told you last week, lost Russell Wilson to Denver, but Seattle didn't lose out on anything because they're in first place and they beat out a division foe, Arizona Cardinals, 31-21. This was a game I was sweating. It was part of my parlay, even though I lost the other one. Tom Brady led his Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a win 16-13 over the Los Angeles Rams. Came back, he had Scotty Miller drop a touchdown in the end zone. Brady came back with the ball, drove the team down the field, scored with 9 seconds to go. He had a touchdown pass to his tight end. He's missing Rob Gronkowski, but it didn't matter because it's Tom Brady. Not only that, Tom Brady has now officially went over 100,000 passing yards in his career, the most of all time. That will never, ever, ever be broken again. Sunday Night Football, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win a nail-biter 20-17 over the Titans in overtime. Had some good football this week and some upsets. Happens all the time. Like I said, any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. Then on Monday Night Football, we had the Ravens dominate the Saints 27-13. That was a no-brainer. 1.5 point spread. Killed them 27-13. That's your weekly sports update with Shawn the Party Man, Bow Radio, Sports Grind.